Hello, I'm Jennifer Mapes-Christ from the Freedonia group in Cleveland. Today I'll be speaking about the security market and our studies within this area. But first I'd like to say a little bit about the people who prepare these studies. Two analysts work on Freedonia's studies in the security area. Together we combine our expertise and research to generate a growing library of security industry studies. Here are the most recent security studies that we've published in order to give you an idea of the kinds of topics we address. As you can see, we have reports that focus on global markets as well as on studies about the U.S. market. Our studies provide historical data and forecasts and discuss trends affecting demand. U.S. studies typically offer a greater level of detail in terms of products and markets, and world studies generally present product and market information for 20 or 25 of the world's largest economies. Similarly, here are the topics that are currently in the pipeline as well as the ones we have on the calendar to produce in 2017. As you can see, a number of the topics among those that we have recently released and those that are pending are new to our library of studies. We are continually seeking to expand our offerings in this area. Taken in its full global context, security, including products and services, is more than a $300 billion industry. The U.S. is the largest single country market overall. However, the fastest gains are in the less developed security markets, particularly India, China, Mexico, South Africa, Turkey, and Brazil will see the most dramatic growth through the forecast periods. Rapid advances in security spending in these countries stem from factors such as ongoing economic development, rising urbanization, and increasing personal incomes in a growing middle and upper class, as well as concerns regarding local crime and that public safety measures provide insufficient protection. Now, moving on to the U.S. market, the balance between products and services has shifted over time, highlighting the increasing reliability and affordability of electronic security products, the ongoing commoditization of most mechanical security components, and the changing price and value associated with labor. What's really interesting is the interplay between products and services, how some are competitive while others are complementary. In fact, that balance has also evolved. For instance, as access controls become more reliable and affordable, their use began to supplant locks and manned security at higher value locations. However, service-based security can be made more efficient and cost-effective through the coordinated use of appropriate mechanical and electronic security products. Furthermore, the ongoing development of improved access controls requires advanced types of high-value electric locks, thus propelling greater value gains in both electronic and mechanical security areas. Crime rates are closely tied to demand for security products and services, but as you can see here, violent crime rates have been generally in a downward trend, despite some year-by-year volatility, particularly in areas such as rates that have seen increased reporting in recent years. The same holds for property crimes as well. However, it's often not the actual crime rates, but the perceived crime rates that drive security spending. The perception that crime is increasing or that individual people perceive their own risk to be increasing is driven by widespread media coverage of crime events, particularly in the era of a 24-hour news cycle and social media, both of which contribute to the perception that even crime that occurs in another state hits close to home, or the feeling that if it happened to someone somewhere in your social network, that it could happen to you as well. As we move into the U.S. security equipment, I'd like to start by discussing the market environment as it affects demand for these products. Economic growth expands corporate profits, personal incomes, and the nation's overall prosperity. It creates both the need and the means for protecting this wealth. However, economic growth serves to reduce the incidence of crime associated with poverty and unemployment. This mitigates the demand for products and services associated with increasing societal wealth. On the other side of the equation, economic stagnation and recession increases unemployment and poverty, which has traditionally led to higher crime rates and thus greater need, but not necessarily greater means, for security product spending. In many ways, security equipment spending is cyclical, generally following macroeconomic factors such as building construction expenditures and overall economic activity. Overall, security-related markets fare better during periods of economic expansion. For example, in the commercial and industrial sectors, rising demand for goods and services tends to generate new business formation activity, directly expanding the market base for security products and services. Similarly, the residential sector, the purchase of expensive, sophisticated consumer goods is closely correlated to personal income growth in the single-family segment and to interest rates and building construction activity. Construction activity has a strong impact on the market, as strengthening new construction expenditures following the recession will continue to drive gains through 2020. Most types of both mechanical and electronic security products will benefit from ongoing transitions to higher value versions, particularly those that make the products more reliable and easier to use. The increasing availability of managed services will further boost demand by making the system to incorporate more advanced functionality more easily. Additionally, most products are including additional features and capabilities at the OEM level that were previously added on in the aftermarket. The rising focus on interoperable products will boost demand by enabling greater functionality across a full security system. Furthermore, ongoing improvements in efficiency, reliability, and product quality will also aid demand gains. On the other hand, while an increasingly competitive pricing environment will expand the potential market by making a product more accessible to a larger pool of customers and aiding volume gains, the value added per sale will diminish, hampering sales in value terms. Ongoing commoditization further challenges the industry, not only in terms of pricing, but by making product differentiation more difficult across suppliers. Maturing market penetration in many areas also slows sales by limiting growth largely to replacement and upgrade sales rather than new installations. Furthermore, if customers cannot expect a product to function consistently, as is often the case with the newest technology innovations that haven't yet reached established status, sales gains will be hampered as well, possibly for the longer term. Moving on to product-specific areas, I'll start with a look at access controls. These systems were volatile in the downturn as they are often installed at the time of new construction. As you can see on this chart, the contraction in spending that coincided with the worst years of construction activity. Furthermore, upgrades are often delayed during periods of economic weakness. In the recovery, as economic trends and construction spending improved, sales grew again. Rising interest in high-value types boosted sales during this period. Coordinating physical and logical credentialing is spurring demand for higher value types, including those using smart cards, mobile credentials, and biometrics. There are a variety of drivers affecting access control equipment demand. One of the leading drivers is the ongoing adoption of higher value versions, including smart card-based types and systems incorporating biometric and mobile capabilities. Additionally, there's a growing focus on interoperable products, such as those that are capable of working and communicating with broader security and building control systems. Demand will also be driven by ongoing product innovations that allow systems to work more efficiently, particularly as biometric types improve their throughput rates and lower their rate for false rejections or false positives. Other important innovations include cyber defense features that protect against tampering, particularly as integration increases with other building systems or a location's logical networks. Additionally, the increasing availability of managed services expands the market. These services, while not included in our studies, are of particular interest to smaller and medium-sized entities and can expand the potential market for the equipment. Cloud-based solutions outsource the management of a data storage and other features, often reducing the upfront costs of access control systems and streamlining the operations of these systems. However, more rapid sales gains are tempered by a number of challenges. Some of these benefit the industry in volume terms, even as they damper value growth. For instance, there is an increasingly competitive pricing environment, particularly on the lower end of the market. The presence of more competitors is pulling down average prices for items with comparable capabilities. To a degree, this is impacting higher value products as interest increases and system reliability improves. Demand is further restrained by the high upfront costs of newer generations of products that feature greater capabilities. Many of them remain too costly for everyday access control needs, with the market remaining limited to high-value security settings. Additionally, some are slower to adopt these versions, especially biometric types, out of concerns that they will either operate too slowly or will wrongly admit or reject people. Installations are further limited to some degree by the population that perceives their security risk is high enough to require the purchase and use of access controls, particularly in light of alternatives that are often enough for low-risk settings. For instance, in many cases, conventional locks are sufficient. Where an additional layer of security is needed, some believe that manned security guards, is enough. Guards have lower upfront costs compared to access controls, but have higher ongoing costs and are subject to human error. Before we get into too much about the types of access controls, I want to point out that our studies classify these equipments by their most secure credentialing technology. So, for example, systems that incorporate both smart card and biometric technology are classified in our reports as biometric access controls. Although the big transition away from more basic technologies such as keypads and toward advanced types such as biometrics is clear in the chart above, there are technology transitions even within these primary categories, particularly in the card-based systems. For instance, in 2004, magnetic stripes dominated card-based systems with sales of 47%, but that share fell below 10% by 2014, and we expect it to continue to fall through the forecast periods. Smart cards went in the opposite direction over the same period, rising from less than 10% of card-based systems in 2004 to more than a quarter by 2014. Rapid growth will continue through the forecast periods as well, particularly in light of the trend towards coordinating both physical and logical access and the ever-widening circle of acceptance of smart cards as seen in federal government facilities and U.S. port locations. There has been much skepticism of biometric access controls within the industry, and concerns regarding these products' efficiency, accuracy, and ease of use have persisted. Still, ongoing technological improvements and the incorporation of biometric capabilities into consumer products such as smartphones have led to growing confidence among end users. Furthermore, the rising availability of consumer biometric products has generated both technological and cost improvements. In order to improve consumer confidence, there's a growing trend to incorporate multiple layers of access control. For instance, a biometric access control system may use a biometric identifier, such as a fingerprint or iris scan, to verify that the person using a smart card to gain entry is the correct holder before actually allowing entry. Mobile credentials, which are primarily offered in conjunction with card-based systems currently, is another rising trend. Many of these systems being installed today are either mobile capable, as they are now, or they can be made mobile capable via an upgrade, often in the software. As a result, this move toward mobile credentialing will not necessarily result in a large boost to equipment demand, given that an increasing share of the installed base is already capable of working with mobile drivers without replacing the hardware. Sales of video surveillance equipment have been less volatile than demand for other types of security equipment. Sales continued to expand through the building contraction and overall economic downturn. Sales of video surveillance equipment then accelerated as construction activity began to improve. Advances were supported by technological improvements that spurred sales of higher-end systems. This boosted video surveillance demand at value terms beyond those expected with traditional replacement rates and new construction installation trends. Additionally, falling prices expanded the potential market base by making video surveillance more affordable to a larger pool of customers. Overall, sales of video equipment generally tracked the overall macroeconomic trends of the past decade. There was a deceleration in video surveillance spending during the downturn and a return to more rapid growth and greater investment in updated systems as the economy improved. There are a variety of drivers affecting video surveillance equipment demand. On the positive side, a primary driver is the ongoing adoption of higher value digital systems over analog models in light of greater functionality. Additionally, the increasing availability of managed services expands the potential market base. These services, while not included in our studies currently, often reduce the upfront costs of video surveillance and streamline a customer's operation. The ongoing shift to digital systems also highlights the role that analytics play in demand gains. Our research only included analytics that are included at the OEM level, but as analytic software is increasingly being installed on the chipsets at the original equipment level, it is propelling gains of video surveillance equipment in value terms. In addition to the value gains from the OEM inclusion of analytics, such software has driven sales of video surveillance by making video systems more useful and more accessible to current and potential customers. One example of operational efficiency gains is the ability to highlight potential problems in real time, thus reducing the need for additional manned security coverage tracking all activity on a bank of monitors. Improving image quality is also making video surveillance increasingly useful for a larger pool of potential customers, particularly those that need to install cameras in a low light situation, but also where fine detail improves identification of suspects. However, more rapid sales gains are tempered by a number of challenges. Some of these benefit the industry in volume terms, even as they dampen value growth. For instance, there is an increasingly competitive pricing environment. The presence of more competitors is pulling down average prices for items with comparable capabilities, restraining value gains, even as it contributes to market expansion and growth in volume terms. Commoditization, particularly concerned at the low end of the video surveillance market, is having a similar effect. However, commoditization has not yet reached the higher value segments. In most segments, manufacturers must seek other ways to differentiate their products in this increasingly price-driven market. Another ongoing challenge to additional video surveillance sales is privacy concerns. In many areas, cameras are seen as too intrusive to the location's perceived security risk. However, that impression is evolving over time. As more people become used to encountering cameras in more places, they become more comfortable with the idea of being remotely watched. To a certain degree, privacy also limits potential installations, because video surveillance systems aren't used where occupants or visitors have a reasonable expectation of privacy. Installations are further limited to the population that believes their security risk is high and require the purchase and use of video surveillance. Truthfully, not every homeowner or facility manager perceives that risk. However, the cohort that does has expanded in light of factors such as falling equipment prices and improving ease of installation with wireless models. Additionally, gains for video surveillance equipment are slowed somewhat by conservative regulatory habits, such as financial institutions that are often slower to adopt newer technologies. The due diligence process to approve platforms or technologies beyond those that are currently in use can be slow and cumbersome. Next, we'll take a closer look at the analog to digital transition. Rising interest in networked IP-connected systems will continue to promote growth of higher value devices. These pieces of equipment provide a number of benefits, including interoperability between various electronic security systems and building automation systems, remote monitoring capabilities, improved archiving and accessing recorded events, and the availability of increasingly advanced and specialized analytics. This transition to digital equipment will also speed replacement rates where consumers are most interested in the additional capabilities of the newest types of networked equipment. Going forward, virtually all new installations will incorporate digital video surveillance equipment. However, replacement sales will continue to provide a market for analog products for the foreseeable future, even while their share of the overall market declines. This is due in large part to the high upfront cost of replacing analog infrastructure on a legacy system. In addition to these replacement rates, demand for analog sales will continue to be supported to a degree by the availability of hybrid products that allow users to incorporate both analog and digital features into their systems. Additionally, high-value analog cameras offer higher quality images similar to those available on digital cameras. For some users, that's good enough to put off the transition to a complete digital system. Furthermore, digital versions often have larger bandwidth and storage requirements that are much higher than conventional analog systems. Large-scale users with regulatory-driven extended storage periods can find that problematic. However, as IP models evolve and storage requirements shrink, the transference will speed up. Challenges to the pricing environment affect the whole video surveillance equipment industry. Prices will be supported by the ongoing shift to networked products. These versions are more expensive on a per-unit basis than analog models. Additionally, prices will be aided by the incorporation of additional features and capabilities at the OEM level. For instance, analytic software is increasingly being included on the camera's chipsets rather than being added to a system in the aftermarket. These additional OEM capabilities will offer some degree of specialization at the higher end of the market. Manufacturers will be able to offer versions specifically designed for a particular market application. These specialized products are more likely to be able to be offered at premium pricing levels. Although overall average prices will be supported by a shift to higher value network models, the average prices of comparable pieces of video surveillance equipment are falling due to increased price competition. However, as a result of the falling prices, network products are an increasingly good value for consumers as they get significantly greater capabilities at a price that is becoming progressively more affordable. As video technology is increasingly developed and used for consumer electronics and other applications beyond security, components that cross over into security surveillance equipment will continue to see declining prices as well. The ongoing commoditization within the lower end of the video surveillance equipment industry will also restrain value gains, even as it contributes to some level of market expansion. Price declines will be further affected by continued competition from low-priced products, particularly those made in countries with low manufacturing costs. Users increasingly believe these versions provide an adequate level of performance and are suitable for more basic installations. As I pointed out in the previous slide, rising competition from imports is one of the key factors affecting the video surveillance equipment industry. With the rising commoditization of video surveillance equipment, particularly the cameras, foreign producers from countries with low production costs have quickly gained market share in the U.S. In particular, falling prices coupled with the improving quality of these lower cost video surveillance imports have spurred growth in imports. Furthermore, many of these importers have experience in consumer electronics and can extend that technology, and in some cases their brand awareness, into video surveillance industry. Now I'd like to transition to highlight a key market, education. This is one of the most dynamic markets for security products and services. Advances result from a variety of trends, including demographics, increasing real and perceived risk, and the presence of a vulnerable population. After reaching a cyclical peak in 2008, spending on construction of education buildings, a key indicator of security requirements, declined for the next 5 years before leveling off in 2014. However, a rebound is anticipated through 2020. Despite the headwind of slight population declines in the segment aged 5 to 24 years, educational building construction is projected to recover as state and local budget conditions improve. Spending for educational building construction in 2020 will nearly reach the level of the previous peak in 2008. Value gains for security equipment will be boosted by the implementation of upgraded systems on some college and university campuses, particularly in the large access control segment, given the widespread need to allow only certain individuals access to buildings and dorms. Technological innovations will continue to play a large role in spurring greater spending on security by educational facilities. The increasing capabilities of electronic security systems have allowed education end users to leverage these systems for a variety of needs. For example, video surveillance systems can be used not only for securing a campus in the event of a criminal incident, but also for everyday use to help enforce discipline, reduce the number of less serious student infractions, and improve routine procedures. The rising use of highly sophisticated and interrelated security systems will support increased spending in a number of related security products and service segments. Such systems will require greater attention through the planning, implementation, and maintenance stages, leading security consulting and systems integration and management services to see growth well above the market average through 2020. Furthermore, the expanding use of electronic access control systems will promote sales of higher value electrified mechanical locks and other door security hardware, boosting value gains in both product segments through the forecast period. Additionally, there are opportunities for greater market penetration. For instance, not all schools have even basic metal detectors, access controls, and video installations, so there remains space for the market to expand. Additionally, child care centers and tutoring locations are increasingly incorporating access controls and cameras, not only to limit access to only authorized personnel, but to provide a video record to reassure parents and to provide evidence in case of criminal activity or negligent behavior. There continues to be greater opportunities for expansion in private security services as well. For instance, private guards are being placed at a growing number of primary schools, and more educational facilities are using outsourced background checking services, not only for staff, but for their volunteers as well. Heightened security consciousness has impacted many types of grade school education facilities as well, following various well-publicized incidents of violence, particularly the December 2012 shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary. Historically, security spending at education facilities was primarily related to limiting property crimes. However, the extensive media coverage of a number of school-related tragedies has boosted the perceived risk of violent crime in schools and has resulted in the availability of more funding for security measures. As a result, an increasing number of educational facilities are devoting a portion of their budget each year to evaluating and upgrading their existing security systems and procedures. Although the real risk of violent crime occurring at a given school remains low, the widespread media coverage has boosted the perceived risk of attack and therefore contributed to increased security spending. However, despite the attention paid to these tragedies, public schools often face limited funding for purchasing security equipment. As a result, although concerns remain high regarding the safety of students and staff, such incidents do not often result in long-term sustained growth in demand for security products in public schools. Nonetheless, such incidents have also resulted in the introduction of products that can offer both better security to prevent and quickly stop such tragedies. This trend also impacts higher-level education facilities which are not immune to such tragedies, including the December 2015 shooting at Oregon's Umpqua Community College. Additionally, demographics are contributing to a challenging environment with declining enrollment. Furthermore, most schools try to balance security needs with a desire to maintain an inviting space open to both students and the wider community. They want more security for their vulnerable student populations without generating a climate of fear or creating a prison-like environment that is not conducive to learning. Similarly, education facilities must also comply with building codes that enable the rapid exit of students and staff in case of fire or other emergency. Furthermore, they face a desire to maintain both a smooth flow of students and staff at conventional entry and exit times, while still limiting access to those without legitimate business on the premises. Therefore, products and services are selected with a variety of competing issues in mind, with specifiers and consultants often careful not to overreach. In conclusion, overall, we expect that demand for security products and services will continue to expand. Even more mature markets continue to benefit from factors such as technological improvements, operational innovations, and competitive pricing that expands the potential market. Real and perceived risks stemming from widespread and ongoing publicity of crimes and terror events in a 24-hour news cycle will further boost interest in security spending of all types. Thank you for your attention.